I'm Sonnet with Sonnet's Garden Blooms. I want to welcome you all to my channel. Now in today's video, we are going to be doing another thrift to treasure. So I took another 5 items out of my stash and we are flipping them. We're going to use some DIY paint, some waxes. We are going to use that IOD transfer that I used in Friday's video as well. I want to thank you all for your orders on Friday. I completely sold out of that transfer. I will be restocked very quickly. I placed an order, so as soon as I get that back in, it will be available for your ordering pleasure. So I want to thank you all for your orders. And I'm so excited to show you what we have in store for you today. If you haven't been to my channel before, what you're gonna find is a lot of DIY, thrift hauls, thrift flips, and I'd like to take you along in a day in the life of a small business owner. So I like to show you my booths, when I go up to shows, just some of the background of being a small business owner. If that is the type of channel that you do like, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notification so every Monday and Friday when I do release a video, you will be notified. And in today's video, I can't wait to hear what you guys liked. And then go ahead, give me a thumbs up and share the video away. All right, I hope you guys enjoy. For project 1, we are going to take this finial. I picked it up on my recent haul. I actually found it in the clearance section. It was $3.99. The original price was roughly $40. I'm not exactly sure where it was $40, but for $3.99, I thought I could definitely get my money's worth back from it. We're going to start by giving it a good coat of black spray paint, and then we're going to come back and we are going to use DIY's White Swan and paint it the White Swan. I'll probably have to do 2 coats, and then from there we are going to distress it back and then clear coat it. Now that I have it completely painted black and let it dry, we are now going to take the White Swan and we are going to apply 2 coats of White Swan by DIY to the piece, let it dry thoroughly, and then come back and we are going to do a wet distressing technique to it. In between coats, a quick tip is if you do have a hairdryer on hand, what I like to do to speed up the drying process is just zap it with a hairdryer. It's amazing how quick that will speed it up. Now we are at the point where we are going to do the wet distressing. What I like to do is just take an old rig and I reuse this over and over. After I get done wet distressing with it, I just rinse it out and let it dry for the next time. But how you do this is just get your wet or your rig thoroughly wet, not sopping wet, but just really damp. And I just start working on any of the raised edges and I just rub the rig over it until the black starts shining through. In some areas, you may have to apply a little bit more pressure depending on how much paint is there, but it does not take a lot of elbow grease to get it all wet distressed. It's a real nice and clean way to do this. When you're using a sander or like a sandpaper, anytime you're using chalk style paint or clay style paint, it does create dust, or I guess anytime you sand at all, it does. But when you have those types of paint, the wet distressing is a very effective process to use. The last thing I should mention is after I was done wet distressing, I did take a hairdryer and dry it all thoroughly and then applied a clear coat to the entire piece. our second project, I picked up this Buddha and I grabbed it because I just thought it reminded me of something for the garden. I know I did get some comments that people had asked if I was into Buddhism. No, I just thought it was just a fun piece. And what we're going to do today is we are going to paint it apothecary, one of my favorite spring colors. And then we are going to take the white wax and we are going to apply the white wax over the entire piece. And it's going to make all the details of the piece really pop. So here I am applying the apothecary to the piece, and really it was what I like to call a coat and a half of paint. The coverage is so good with the DIY paint, but there were just a few spots where the black still popped through, so I had to touch those areas up. Now that it is completely dry, I am starting off by applying the clear DIY wax. And I like to do this before using either the white waxes or any of the dark or black waxes. It just gives you better control. That way, if you apply too much, you can use the clear wax to then take some of it off. It just makes it so much easier to control that. And now what we're going to do is we are going to apply the white wax. So what I do is I just work in sections, and I like to apply some of the wax and then take a piece of paper towel and wipe some back. And then in the end, I just go back through and pick areas where I want to see a little bit more white, and I add the white there and then just wipe it off like I did before. For project 3, we are going to do the faux cement finish on these pears. I picked this whole piece up in the clearance section at Goodwill. It was $3.99. I have a different idea for the actual container, so we're going to just focus on the pears. We're going to take faded burlap from DIY and the white wax from DIY, and we are going to create this faux cement finish. So we are using DIY's faded burlap, and we are going to give each of the pears 2 coats of paint. The easiest way that I found to do this is I painted everything on the top except the very bottom, let that dry, then flipped them all over, painted the bottom, and then just did one last coat for the whole piece, and you got some really good coverage. Just like I had with the Buddha, I applied the clear wax to each one of the pears. Again, it just gives me the ability to play with the white wax all the easier. That way, once I get the white wax on, when I remove it, it just allows me to manipulate that white wax better. So here I am applying the white wax to each of the pears, and then I take just a piece of paper towel and I just dab off to give it kind of like just a cement finish effect. I love how these turned out. And it really didn't take that long. I know sometimes people don't like to do everything right in a row, but honestly, this makes it so easy. So basically, I just painted them all, let them dry, clear waxed them all, and then white waxed, and it was finished. So it was such an easy process, and they turned out amazing. For project 4, I had this metal container that I recently picked up, and I think I ended up paying, if I remember correctly, $5.99 for it. I love Monet's Garden, and that last table that I painted in Monet's Garden went over so good. I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to use Monet's Garden again. I did apply 2 coats of Monet's Garden to the entire piece. I let it dry thoroughly, and then we are going to go and do the waxing technique. So initially I started applying the white wax, and you can see that the control of the white wax was not as good. So then I went back and I went and applied the clear wax to the entire piece, and then we're going to go back and apply the white wax then. So here I'm applying the white wax, and you can see now how easy it is to manipulate the white wax with that clear wax underneath it. I don't know if you initially saw how it had absorbed and was much more difficult to manipulate initially when I started the video, but it just makes it so much easier to apply the clear and then the other type of wax. For project 5, if you remember, I picked this up on a recent haul. Unfortunately, there was writing all over it. I was able to take a Mr. Eraser and get the writing off. And now we are going to remove the handle, and we're going to go ahead and spray it black. And then we're going to use that IOD transfer that we used in Friday's video, and we are going to apply that transfer to the around the edges. So if you haven't used a transfer before, you just peel off the backing, place the transfer down, and the transfers do come with that clear stick, and you just rub that stick and peel off the backing. Then you take the actual paper that the transfer was on, and you rub it to what we call burnish that transfer into whatever you applied it to, and I am doing that to the entire piece here. The one nice thing too about transfers is that you don't necessarily have to use the whole transfer piece on one area. Just like I'm doing, you can cut the pieces apart and apply them however you'd like over the entire piece. I just love how this piece turned out, and after you're done, then we're going to apply a clear coat to seal it all in. Before I do that though, I wanted to make the transfers a bit more distressed. So I took a sanding block and I just distressed the whole entire piece again. After that, I took my poly and applied a good coat of poly to the entire piece and let it dry, and then I reattached the handle. y'all think? What was your favorite item? Honestly, I love the finial. Those sell so well in my booth. Every time I do that technique to my finials, like any of the wood finials I get or metal, they sell almost instantly. So I wanted to give you that tip. But I love coming up with new ideas for you. I love showing you different techniques. I know as a small business owner, sometimes it's very hard to continuously stay motivated and feel creative, and you can get in those ruts. And sometimes you feel like you're on this journey alone. And I know that I have felt that way. So the announcement that I am making on Monday, March 28th, if you've ever felt like that, where you're in a rut or you need a boost, my announcement is going to be something that you'll want to listen for. So another teaser. I know so many of you thought I was going to actually open my own storefront. No, I'm not. And many of you may not even know this, but for 3 years, I did have my very own storefront as well. And it was in downtown Appleton, and it was an amazing journey that I was on. I loved it. I did, unfortunately, lose the building I was in because somebody bought it. And that is why I now have booths, because I could not find another building to be located in. So I made that decision to create several different booths. So a little bit of info about me, but anyways, we will see you guys all Friday, and I don't know what we're gonna do Friday. I might actually bring you into Antique Up, because I am doing a total flip of Antique Up. We are gonna be revamping. I'm not going to expand, but revamping. I'm taking items and moving them out. I'm adding a paint display. So there is going to be a lot in store at Antique Up. I can't wait to show you guys that whole process, and you have a great week. We'll see you soon. Bye.